Greetings, everybody. My name is Alan. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the lab. Continuing on with our XTS series of radios, specifically the XTS 5000. So this video we're gonna touch on some very basic programming. We're going to go over what's the basic, or what's the minimum that you need to get this thing on the air, and start using it. Sorry, my brain was somewhere else. Okay, so let's start off with the CPS we're gonna use. Again, I'll put the link to the CPS in the description. I had it in the last video of the introduction to the XTS series. But as you can tell, so I'm using version R20.01.00, and this covers the XTS 5000, the 4000, the SSE 5000, XTS 2500, XTS 2000, ATS 3000, XTS 1500, MT 1500, PR 1500. If it is not on that list, it will not work. Okay, that's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you do not see your model listed, you will need to find a different version of CPS. I'm looking at you, people, with the XTS 3000, okay? The XTS 3000 will not work with this CPS. It just won't. You're going to hook it up, you're going to try to open this, and you're going to try to connect to it, and you're going to get middle fingers all around, okay? This is just not going to work. So, now we got that out of the way. Again, I'll leave a link to the programming cable that I use in the description. I'll leave the link there. We went over that in my introduction, so there's no need to recover that. Let's go ahead and switch screens here. Okay, so here we have our 5000. We're going to need to access this port, which will either have your speaker mic attached to it, or it will have the desk cover in place. Okay, so we need to remove those, and they attach and detach just in the same manner that the programming cable does. You're going to hook it in. Let me get my stupid hand out of the way. Okay, so you're going to hook it in right here at the bottom of the cable. There's a little hook. You're going to hook it. My hand's in the way again. Okay, so we're hooked. Then you're going to take your finger, pull back. You know, some people just try to just ram this thing on here. You run the likelihood of snapping this thing off here. So hook it, apply some pressure with your finger, come up here with your thumb and push that latch back, and then pull it towards the radio. Okay, and then give it a little bit of a squeeze. You see it locks down there. So now we're fully attached. Okay, it's important to know that the radio's off currently. Always connect this with the radio off. You can disconnect it with the radio on, but you definitely want to wait for the programming mode to be over with, or to be completed before you disconnect it, obviously, because if you disconnect this while it's still programming, it's a very high likelihood that you're going to brick this thing. It's not unrecoverable, but the odds of having to send it to the mothership are a lot higher, or finding someone who has the software, has the tuner software. Okay, so don't disconnect this while it's still programming. Wait till you get the little window that says programming is complete. Okay, and typically what's going to happen is, well, I'll show you. The radio restarts and comes up. Okay, we'll cover that. Okay, our programming cable is connected. We're going to turn on our radio. It does its self-test. It's powered on. It's it. Leave it there. Back away from it slowly. And now we're going to come over to our CPS. Okay, I already have CPS open, clearly. We're going to come up to our tools, not tools, our view. We're going to come down to options. We're going to come down here at the bottom, port selection. In my case, it's COM9 because I'm using a USB to serial adapter. You also have a USB option here. So if you have if your programming cable has the FTDI chip and a USB then you would select USB. Okay, so we want COM9. Okay, once we have our communication port squared away, we're going to come up here to our upper left, and the arrow pointing towards the computer. See, it says read device. We're going to push our read device. Let's switch back over to our radio. Okay, you see it goes into programming mode and beeps. Don't touch it at this stage. Let it do its thing. At the bottom of your CPS, you see, okay, it's rebooted. Let's switch back over to our CPS, and you see we have our window up. Now I'm going to close this, and I'm going to reread it. That way you can watch what happens on CPS at the same time. So we're reading. You see down here at the bottom left, it says reading device. You hear the beep from the radio. Our progress bar starts counting. And then we're going to see in the middle here, we have our Astro 25 portable CPS. And our tree view appears. This has been a successful read. Okay, so we have read off everything that's currently programmed into this radio. And kind of resize this. Okay, so for those of you who watched the XTL programming series, you already know what I'm about to say. But for those of you who are just here for the XTS, I'm going to say this. Before you do anything else at all, ever, okay, you read your radio off, before you do anything else, you come up here to File, and you click Save As. You go to wherever you're going to save this, and you rename this, what you're going to name this. In my case, we're going to call this YouTube. XTS 5000. Okay, and we're going to hit save. Now, if we screw something up and we break something, or whatever, we now have a backup of our code plug. Okay, a functioning backup. Now, if you just got this radio, it's still important to do this, just because the last person that programmed this probably had this configured in a functioning state, right? So if you get it to a point where something doesn't work or whatever, you can refer back to what they did. Now, along with this, the help features in this are absolutely amazing. Motorola has done a fantastic job of their help. So when you come here to help, CPS help topics, you can open this up, and this is just an absolute gold mine as far as programming information for your radio. Same thing for the XTL series. This help program for Motorola is absolutely fantastic. So you can refer to that just by opening up like that, or conversely, like when you're in something, like you can let's see here, something where I can actually change it. Let's go to something that I can actually change. Like, okay, so I can come up to this. You can right click on this, and it says, what's this? Click on that, and it gives you a little snapshot of what this feature's for. Okay. So we read our radio off. We've saved our code plug. Now we can start programming. Actually, let's hold that thought for a second. At the bottom here, in the bottom left, you can see your model number, XTS 5000 Model 2. We already went over in our previous video the differences between the Model 1, the Model 2, and the Model 3. And then we have our serial number and such like. So, and then of course our system time. So now we're ready to set this up. Now, obviously, what's in here now has already been set up. This was not a blank radio, but we're going to go through what you need to do to get the setup. So we're going to pretend like you've bought this radio from eBay or from Facebook Marketplace or from wherever you got it. It doesn't matter. This is a new radio to use, so you're going to want to go through it, and you're going to check some stuff. Okay, so you're going to come into the top one here, radio information. The general is going to give you your flash code, your serial number, your model number, system package, and a lot of this stuff is not going to be super important to you, like this last program information. So the last time this radio was programmed, 16 June 2023. Obviously, that's today, because I was screwing around with this earlier. Original programming, 6 June 2005. It was done at the mothership. Same thing with the flash port. It was last done at the mothership. Versioning. So here's where you're going to find out what the bootloader is. Your last time the revision of the tuning file that's in it, code plug number, etc. You really don't have to worry about this at all. Feature set. This is the big one. This is the one that you're really going to be most concerned with. Conventional system operation. Okay, this is your analog. So H35, that's your analog operation. Astro digital operation. Just like the XTL series, the XTS series is only capable of P25 operation for digital mode. So you either have analog or you have P25 digital. Now, of course, there's some other signaling options in there, but your digital mode is going to be P25 or Project 25. Motorola refers to digital as Astro. So whenever you see Astro, this is what they're talking about, is digital. So you see the little sunglasses here on my mouse cursor. Basically, that's telling me that there's not a darn thing I can do about what you see on this screen right here. I can't change any of this. The only way you can change this is to have the flash port software, and good luck. Like I said, it's a non-supported radio, so you have to go to your Motorola dealer and have them handle that for you, or open this thing up. But realistically, for the average ham, you're only going to want the conventional and the Astro enhanced digital ID display. Okay, so this is your digital ID, like what we just saw, where it displays the person's name or unit number, etc., when they're transmitting. And then channel announcement. This is voice announcements. So when you change channel, it's going to give you a voice announcement of the channel, which is kind of neat. I typically don't use that, but it's a nice feature to have. Okay, now the next one we're going to check out is a radio wide. There's only one thing we really need to go over in here, and that's this radio ID alias enabled. When I make that sure that's checked, and I have Alan Portable on here. If we go over to the radio, you can see right here it says Alan Portable. This is what we're talking about. Okay, I have my time format 24 hour, my date format month, day, year. So there really isn't anything in here that I think we need to mess with. Yeah, there's nothing else we need to really talk about in here currently. We'll in later episodes we're going to get to the more advanced stuff, right? But for now, that's really all you need to worry about. So let's close that one. Our buttons under controls. We're going to open this one up. The top button. This is that orange button at the top of the radio that I said was the emergency button. It's typically what it's used for, right? Is emergencies or your man down feature. I have mine set to the backlight right now, so I can toggle my backlight on and off. Okay. But you can, you go to your drop down. You can change all kinds of cool stuff. They give you all the features, but some of these features I don't think would be that great to be using for the emergency button. So I mean, they give it all to you, but realistically, either light or your if you want to set up your emergency stuff, that's great too. Our side buttons. This is the three buttons on the side just above the PTT that we covered in the first video. So the purple one, the one at the top with no button, upper, no dot, I have set to monitor. Just opens the squelch. The bottom two, one dot and the two dot, I have the zone up and zone down. Okay, it's easy enough, right? Okay, we've got our buttons. We don't need to worry about handheld control head because we don't have one. Switches. The rotary control is obviously going to be your channel select. You can change it to other things. I don't know why on earth you'd want to do that, but you can. 2 position concentric. Right now I have position A is scan, position B is blank. Typically what you'd use this for is, you know, like secure or clear channel. But we don't do encryption in amateur radio, so I just leave it for scanning. There are 3 position toggle switch, A, B, and positions A, B, and C. I have position A set to keypad lock. Position B is TX low power. And then position C is my talk around / direct / repeater defeat. Pretty useful feature. Okay, so those are our switches. We can close that. We can minimize our let's see, what else? Anything else in here? Yeah, we can go ahead and minimize all of that. Next thing we're going to come into is conventional. Okay, now we're going to start getting to the meat and potatoes of all this. We're going to open conventional configuration. And we're going to, let's see, is there anything we need to check in here? Monotype, open squelch, smart PTT. You know what? I don't think there's anything we need to do in here. No. Nothing we need to do currently right now. So we can close that one. Conventional personality. Okay. So you can see I have 8 different personalities in here. Typically you're going to start off with 1, you know. So let's just open up our conventional personality. Right away, for those of you who have, and you probably already caught on to this, who watched the XTL series, excuse me, this is nearly identical, except for some minor settings, but this program's in a very similar way. So conventional personality, or personality in general. So the personality is going to decide what a group of channels, what kind of characteristics, not really a group of channels, but any channel assigned with this personality, what kind of attributes it's going to have. Okay. So in this case, I have my conventional personality number 1. These are the settings I have. So I have, let's see, RX signal type. I have mixed mode. So this particular personality can receive both analog and digital. We can change that to, you know, non-astro, which would be analog only, or astro, which would be digital only. Currently I have this set to mixed mode. Our TX option, timeout timer number 1, is set to infinite. Again, we saw that setting in a previous window. We're not going to worry about it right now. Suffice to say, I have this set to infinite because I have PTT control. For those who like to get a little long-winded and so on, if you know what I mean, you might want to set that to something other than infinite. TX voice signal type is analog only, so you're only given the choice between non-astro or astro. Okay, so just know that. Our default TX power, like if you don't have any of your switches controlling your TX power, you can set that on a personality level. So any channel associated with this personality will use this power level. Signaling, I have no signaling type associated with this personality. Of course, we can change it to MDC. We can do quick call, and we can do DTMF. You know, we can all do the fun ones. If we chose like MDC, all this would populate, and we could change our MDC settings. Okay, right now it's all blacked out because we don't have MDC enabled for this personality, so we can ignore that stuff for now. So because we have mixed mode, our Astro stuff is enabled. Secure 2, nothing's going to be there. Repeater access, we don't have that enabled because we don't have repeaters that are looking for specific side tones to access them. We're not doing anything with these. Scan list 1 selection. We're going to cover scanning in a separate video because we can go pretty in depth with scanning with these. Just like the XTL series, the XTS series is no different. We can do some pretty fun stuff with scanning. So that's going to be saved for a future video. Just know that this is where you change that. Okay, I have it currently set to 1. Advanced, nothing we need to worry about in here. Astro System 1. Again, the Astro stuff, We're going to cover it in a different video, so don't panic just yet. I know it seems overwhelming, but realistically, you don't need to worry about any of this right now. Okay. So down here at the bottom, we can scroll through our personalities. So if we move to personality 2, you can see that this is a Astro only. So this is my digital only one. Now this one is a receive only personality. I have this box checked. It means I cannot transmit on any channel that is associated with this personality. So in this case, I will use it for my NOAA weather radio channels, so I can't accidentally transmit on those frequencies. So that's what I use that for. Again, our TX options are going to be grayed out because it's a receive only. And same thing with all this scan list. I have no scan list selected here, which, like I said, we'll get to scanning. We're going to go through that. In fact, I'm going to update this one in that video, so stay tuned for that. Okay, we can keep scrolling through this, but I think we've got the gist of the personality. It'll make a bit more sense when we get into the channels, which I think is our next step. So we're going to close our personality. MDC, quick call, DTMF, these are signaling types. Astro systems, we're not touching that yet in this video. The scan list, we're not going to touch currently. So the next thing we need to do is we need to open up our channel assignments. So these are organized into zones. So a zone is a group of channels. That's it. That's all it is. A zone is a group of channels. So let's go back to the radio. Here's the radio. What you can see here is C dash. So C is the zone. Okay, I'm in zone C. If I scroll through my zones, you can see now I'm in zone B, zone A. So you can rename these, and I'll show you how to do that in a second here. So these are the zones. Right after that is the channel that you're on. Okay. So let's go back over here. Let's open up channel 1 assignment. Okay. So you see right here, zone A dash. Okay. This is where you would change that, right? You would just come in here and change it to, I don't know, zone. Whatever you want. As long as it's only 2 characters. So this is the one departure from the XTL versus XTS. You only get 2 characters for your zone name. So, and I don't remember which one I had on this one. Which one was this one? B. So this is A dash. So that is one minor drawback with these. Because you only have so much display space, right? So A dash, and then your name is going to follow after that. So this is usually why I put the dash in here. Okay. The same thing as before. This is how we scroll through our channels. I forgot to mention in the commercial and their personality settings up here, but down at the bottom you have this plus, the X, and the double plus and stuff. This is where you add or remove, in this case, channels. But up here, we can open up another one of these. This is where you would add or remove personalities. So, yeah, so down here, add or remove channels. If you click the double plus, it's going to ask for a range. How many channels do you want to add? So you can do 6 all in one shot, right? You can do a group add kind of a thing. Typically, it's easier just to do it one at a time. So let's go ahead and embiggen this. Again, all I did was so there's the 2 tabs up here. There's your zone tab and your channel tab. You click the channel tab. Okay. So when you're in your zone, like I said, plus will add a zone. X will delete a zone. When you hit the channel tab, these down here still will add a zone or delete a zone, but now you have these up here. And this is to add and also delete a channel. So I could delete this channel if I hit X right now. Okay, so as you can see here, this is my channel number 1 in zone A dash. So in zone A dash, channel number 1 is my GF_94. That's my local repeater here in the big town, about 10 miles away from, or 20 miles away from where I'm at right now. So I do not have my channel announcements currently set up. It is a conventional personality. I have personality number 1 assigned to this channel. Okay. It's important to know that on a per channel basis, you can change your personalities, right? So you can have 10 different channels, and you can have 10 different personalities if you want. In my case, I have 10 different channels and 1 personality assigned to each of them because I want them all to share the same attributes. So, next over, user selectable PL. We don't need to worry about that right now. You receive frequency, okay? It is exactly what it sounds like. This is where you're going to put in the frequency at which the radio you're holding in your hand is receiving on, okay? In my case, it's 146.940. I have a receive squelch or PL tone, or private line, I believe is what that stood for. I have that 123.0 in Mother Moto speak. That's 3Z. So there's my receive frequency. I don't need to worry about any of these other stuff until we get to transmit frequency. Since this is a repeater, we have your standard repeater offset, and there's nowhere in here to just type in an offset and have it do the calculation for you. You got to do it yourself. So my transmit frequency is obviously going to be the receive frequency of the repeater. In this case, 146.340, again with a PL tone of 123.0 or 3Z. When you change this 123, like if I change it to 110.9, it's going to automatically change this one here. So you don't have to worry about knowing what those are. So that's handy. Our squelch type, obviously we can either do carrier, where there's no squelch type. We can do PL or DPL. PL is typically just fine, right? Okay, if we continue to scroll, we have our transmit deviation, which is set to 5. Our talk around deviation or repeater defeat or whatever is set to 5. Channel spacing 25.0. Yeah, we don't necessarily need to be worrying anything about this right now. As you can see, this is just where it's at. So if you want to narrow band it, this is where you would go here, but I don't think we had that feature available, the narrow banding. If you want to enable, since this is a repeater frequency, our repeater channel, we can enable the talk around, the direct, or repeater defeat and stuff. If we check that box, and then you can enter the frequency that you want to use for that. Currently, we don't have that enabled right now, so that's it, man. That's how you put a channel in. The rest of the channels are the same. Channel name over here, your personality that you want to use, your receive frequency, receive squelch type, your receive PL tone if applicable, transmit frequency, transmit squelch type, transmit PL tone if applicable, and that's it. That's all you need to get this thing on the air. So now that we've done that, we can go ahead and come up here, and we're going to do a save as, and we're going to change this to or we're going to append this with an underscore BER1. This is the version 1 of this code plug. You can use whatever naming scheme you want to. This is just how I do it, so I can keep track of my code plugs. And then you're going to hit save. Okay, so now we've saved this as it is, and then we're going to come up to, well, actually, we're going to go ahead and close this. We don't need to have this open right now. Let's minimize this. Okay, we're ready to write this to our radio right now. Let's switch over to the radio. Remember, we have our cable connected here. Our radio's on, so we are ready to program. So we're going to come back over here. We're going to come up to the top left, and we're going to see the arrow facing away from the computer, and it says write device. So we're going to go ahead and push that button, and what we're going to see is at the bottom left, we're going to see our progress bar start counting, and it's going to start talking to the radio. What you'll see on the radio, and I'm going to do this twice, that way we can have both angles on it. So the first time I'm going to do it, we're going to watch the radio here. Okay. And there is a bit of a time delay as the handshake is completed and the radio starts to take the program, but I'm going to push the button now. And it says verifying that the device can accept the current code plug, and it can. Radio goes, beeps and goes into program mode. Do not disconnect it or power it off right now. Leave it alone and let it do its thing. Okay, so you see the radio rebooted and it came back up. It has now been fully programmed with this new code plug. Okay, now I'm going to just repeat that again, except we're going to be looking at the CPS when I do this. So just like before, I'm going to push the right button. And down here in the lower left, it says verifying device can accept the current code plug. Sometimes you'll get the progress bar, sometimes you don't. It says writing device. It's writing the code plug. At the end of this, you hear the radio beep, it reboots, it comes up, and it says write successful. You click OK. Now it is safe to disconnect your radio. Do not disconnect your radio before that. Okay, so our radio is powered back up. It is now safe to disconnect it. So we're going to come in here with our thumb, push it out, and then pull this straight away and unhook it off the bottom in one smooth motion, because you don't want to damage these pins. They are pogo pins, so they're spring loaded, but you don't want to side load them. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so we've programmed our radio. We can now take this opportunity to reconnect our accessories, whatever we may have. In this case, my speaker mic. We get that pushed up there and locked. Now my speaker mic is now attached. That's it. We're ready to go. We're ready to do the things. So, as always, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you learned a few things. I hope you come to appreciate the XTL. The XTL. Sorry, I'm so busy with that series. The XTS series radio as much as I have. The XTS series and the XTL series Motorola's are probably one of my favorites, second only to the APX series of radios. Obviously, the APX are the latest and greatest right now. You can get the like an APX portable that can handle UHF R1, UHF R2, your VHF. You can do 700, 800 megahertz, all in one radio. Right, all in one package, analog, digital, all in one package. Oh, excuse me. It's a pretty sweet radio. The XTSs are monoband, so this particular one is VHF. The one behind it, you see, there's also VHF, but you can get them in 700, 800 megahertz, UHF R1, UHF R2, etc. All the big ones. On that note, be careful when you are searching eBay for these radios. Because you might think you're getting a really good deal on one of these, but in fact you're getting a 700 or 800 megahertz radio, because they're not as popular. They're not as useful anyway for the ham. So what you're going to look for in an eBay listing when you go to buy these is you're going to want to look for this FCC ID. Now this camera is not going to focus on here, but if it's a reputable seller, they will have a picture of this tag, and you're going to see FCC ID with some numbers behind it. Okay, you can just go to Google and type in FCC ID and that number, and you will get one of the results will be the FCC website, and it will tell you what band that radio is licensed to operate on. That Motorola has this equipment license to operate on. That doesn't mean that you as the end user are licensed to operate on that. That is incumbent upon you to make sure that you are licensed to operate said equipment. It just means that this radio has been certified by the FCC to operate within the legal parameters on that frequency, okay, or on that band. So that's how you tell in an eBay listing, if they don't explicitly tell you what band it's on, that if they have that picture, the SEC ID, that's how you tell. Okay, if they don't have that picture, I would either ask or I would just kind of stay away from it, that listing. Okay, because it's a roll of dice what you're getting. So same thing with the XTL or any commercial radio in general. Anything that's officially approved by the FCC will have that FCC ID, and you can look that up to find out what frequency or what band it operates on. So I think I've gone on long enough. Like I said, I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoy making them. As always, do not hesitate to ask questions if you have them. The only silly question is the unasked question. You will never be accosted here by me, and I'll certainly try and stay on top of it if it happens in the comment section for asking a question. Sometimes you run into that when you go to the big forums and you ask a question, you can get attacked, but that won't happen here. Okay, feel free to ask away. That's what we're here for. So anyway, it's getting pretty late here, so I'm going to wrap this up. Stay tuned for more videos in this series. We're going to get into some more advanced stuff, advanced programming, just like we did for the XTL. That's it. This is N0ZFG out.